Welcome back to Chris Greenhill's Garage. I'm Chris Sr. Not with me today is Chris Jr. Don't believe he's going to be in any of this video. He's actually in Europe. That little turd. Yes, Europe. I think he's in Austria right now. He's going to be in Germany, Liechtenstein, and Switzerland. And it's perfectly fine to hate him for it. In this video, I'm doing LED Amazon fog lights. Again, yes, I just did that. I'm doing it on different cars now because I can and I want to and I need to, and you can't stop me, and you're going to watch this video no matter what. So just consume product and get excited for the next product, okay, nerds? In all seriousness, I am in Chris Jr.'s 2001 Mustang GT convertible, and I'm going to be putting Amazon LED fog lights on this thing, just like I did with White Trash and just like I did with Project Piece of Stang. I'm also going to be putting an LED, not a fog light necessarily, but an LED light bar in my wife's, I don't know if it's 2014 or 2015 Ford Expedition. I asked Chris Jr. here a while back, how are the lights on your car, driving them at night? And he's like, oh yeah, they're fine, they're fine. He just doesn't want to complain. We were out one night here a few weeks back. The first time I'd ever driven the car at night or seen it at night. Horrible. These headlight lenses are typical 25-year-old plastic Ford headlight lenses. They're beyond yellowed. They're beyond stained. They're almost like trying to shine a light through a cement block. Neither one of us could see a damn thing. And I asked him, like, you said these lights are fine. Oh, they're not that bad. They're that bad. They're horrible. They're worse than either of the other Mustangs. Ugh. Let me show you what we're dealing with. It's always hard to tell what will show up properly on camera versus the naked eye. I think these are legitimately smoked headlight lenses. I'm not sure. That's just a layer of dirt on them. But I think these were smoked, already pre-fogged headlight lenses anyway, which aren't good. And they've also faded and started to yellow. So these things are horrible. You can't see anything out of them. To put it in perspective, you may as well hold your cell phone flashlight out the window and try to see where you're going with those. 30 miles per hour is about the top you could go safely and still be able to see what you're doing. These are my wife's headlights on her Expedition. We've tried everything with these. They've had plastics on them. We tried the kits, the headlight polishing kits, but these things are just yellowed all the way through. I actually came out here at one point and sanded multiple layers off these things trying to get to clear plastic. That didn't work either. So these things are just they're basically just marker lights or fog lights themselves. They don't actually project any light at all. Here's what I have planned for my wife's Expedition. I'm going to put this 20-inch light bar behind the grill and just have it shine out from this top slit up here. I'm going to use this top piece as a shroud to keep the light from going up into other drivers' faces. It'll put it at the same level as the other headlights, and I'm going to recess it a little bit and just have it come out here just for supplemental lighting. For the Mustang, I have these kind of short, wide fog lights. I guess they're going to go in here. I guess they'll come around back behind here and mount up here. I was going to put them here, but this car was a non-fog light car, I guess, from the factory. You know what? I think I can just pop these out of here and go ahead and mount it in there. Yeah, those aren't much of an obstacle. Kind of hard to see in there to reach back there because of the bumper, but there's actually fog light wiring already installed back here. Factory fog light wiring. I keep forgetting this car was wrecked. This is an aftermarket bumper. I think it's a V6 bumper actually, so that would explain why there's no fog light cut out. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I can just knock these out of here and mount them where they're supposed to go from the factory. Oh, heck yeah. It appears that the factory fog light wiring is still good. Just ran that wire right into there and fired right up. The factory fog light switch still works. Turns it on. You can see it on. turns it off. That's awesome. That saves me a lot of work. Factory fog light switch even turns off when the bright lights are on and everything. So that's awesome. The only problem we're gonna have is this stays powered up even with the headlights. Oh no, turn off the headlights, it does turn off. Okay, good. All right, that's awesome. Everything's working as it should. It's gonna make life a lot easier for me. Let me go make sure the other side is wired up. I've looked everywhere. There is no factory fog light plug-in. There's no harness. There's no nothing on this side. I've looked up, I've looked down, I've looked in the fender. I've traced wiring. There's just not one on this side. There's some stubs of some old wiring back up in the fender. I'm guessing they might have cut it off after that fog light was broken in the wreck or something. But I'm thinking I just wire everything, wire the relay and everything through this, just get power to the relay and the battery, and then use this to trigger the relay, and I'll be good. And then I can just split both lights off of that and I should be okay. The boy's out of the country, so I'm going to quit playing around with the Mustang. I've got time to do it. I need to get back to my wife's expedition. She actually needs this thing and drives it regularly. I wish I could have put the same white LED fog lights that are in white trash here, and they would have fit. They're almost direct replacements, but it's just so difficult. The custom mounting was going to be so difficult to deal with. This isn't going to be fun either, because there is nothing in here. This is just about 10 inches of open hollow space behind this grill. That's not going to be fun either. But when I remove this, I should just be able to make a custom bracket to come out of here. It'll be easier than cutting all this fiberglass and making new brackets for the fog lights down there. Let's start by taking off the top cover up here. It's just a bunch of these stupid fake screw push pin things that never work. They just break when you take them apart. Whatever, it's annoying. Then I pulled 4 real screws out of the top of this and backed it up. Unfortunately, it's got a bunch of clips that are going to break if I try to take the grill completely off, so I'm going to have to do this with the grill still on. Just pull it back for a little bit of spacing. This kit comes with these adjustable little brackets here. These brackets slide side to side, and these brackets adjust the depth and height, and I think that's going to be about perfect. Let me show you what I'm thinking. I adjusted these things to come under here, and I think I'm going to mount them with these pre-existing holes right here with the bolts the kit came with. I'm going to mount this thing right here. I'm going to get that mocked up and see how that's going to fit as far as shining through the grill. So you can see I have this kind of mocked up here. They were kind enough to include 2 unused bolt holes from the factory, which look to be just about perfect. So I'm going to kind of finish mocking this up, see if I can get this to kind of lay back into place. And oh, the angle is all wrong, but okay, it's hanging just a little bit too low. It's shrouded halfway behind the grill, so I need to lift that up just a little bit. In order to do this, I had to come in here and take the grill, and I had to use a hole saw to punch some holes through this so I could get to these bolts. Otherwise, these would not sit flat and I couldn't reattach the grill. So it's one thing you got to do to mount this thing using these factory bolt holes. Pro tip, I found out the hard way. You're never going to get this thing mounted with these brackets on the light. So I had to mount the brackets first, then I'll put the light on. Then I found out if you run the bolts down into the bracket, they hit the light and the light won't adjust. So I had to take them back off again and run the bolts up. Then I had to make sure they cleared the hood and all that nonsense. But now the brackets are on. Now it's time to put the light on and get it adjusted. Here we have this kind of mocked up in here. Here we are from straight on. In front of it, it is actually quite blinding. So it's probably gonna have to aim down just a little bit. We won't be able to tighten it up finally until we get it all wired up and everything. That looks like it's gonna be about right there. Looks good. Here's the headlight on bright, and here's this thing. It's absolutely blinding. And the other bright headlight. We are not wiring the LED light bar into my wife's headlight switch. She wants to put it somewhere here, so we're going to put it right here, but this stupid thing came with one of these, call it a coin holder, sits in there. It would fit in this perfectly if we had one of those, so she's ordered one. It'll be here in a few days. We're just going to put another one of those here, run our wires to the back of it, and mount our LED light bar switch right there. She said that's where she wants it, so that's what we're going to do. Here's the final install on the front. We're going to have to test drive it tonight, and we'll adjust it a little bit. It is bright no matter where you go. I stepped back quite a bit and leaving spots in my eyes. Until that piece arrives to mount this here, for now we're just going to be flipping the switch as we go down the road. And we'll come back and test drive this in about 2 hours. Here we are with the bright lights on. And there's the new spotlight. It's aimed a little bit too far down. It's too far in front of us right now. But it is a lot better than it was. We're just not getting any openings in traffic to be able to use the damn thing on the open road. But it is much better than it was. Best opening traffic we're going to have, I guess. Yeah, that is a lot better. We can see a whole lot further, but I need to bring that up probably 2 or 3 degrees. I'd like it to aim about 50 feet further down the roadway, and I think it'll be perfect if we do that. Here's the difference. I actually drove part of the way home without the headlights on at all, and you couldn't tell the difference at all with the light bar on. A few days later, our little replacement dash trim piece came in. I'm going to try to get this wired up and get the switch installed, and my wife has stated she does not want this little flip cover on it, so I'm going to snap it off. So this absolutely does not fit. The diameter's too big to fit in there. There's no material on the back to grind off to make it fit, so I don't think we're gonna be able to use that. We'd have to grind here on the console to put it in and like glue it into place or something. This is completely different shape than the factory piece, so it doesn't go in there and lock into place. This is basically useless for us. I am both proud and ashamed of this, both at the same time. There's no other way to get this done in the next this week. So what I did is I took a hole saw, which is the perfect size for this switch, and I just punched a hole saw in the back of this coin slot thing, and that's what we're going with. And there we go, finished product. So power on, flip it off. That's not all that inconvenient. You can reach that fairly well. I don't like this tray thing, but I won't be driving it every day, and it's not all that inconvenient. Good enough. Got the grill loose again. I'm going to loosen up these side bolts. I'm going to turn this thing up just a couple of degrees, a couple of millimeters, and then I'll test it again tonight. Got it back together, and you can't tell anything on camera, but we raised this up a couple of degrees, a couple of millimeters. It was ever so slightly facing down, causing the light to shoot down at the pavement right in front of us. This should go out further down the roadway now. Because I had other vehicles to work on earlier in the day, just got to this. I'll test drive this tonight and hopefully work on the white convertible tomorrow. We won't be installing any fog lights today, unfortunately. It is several hours later. I walked outside because I heard the rain stop, and I tried to get some work done in between rainstorms. It did not happen. Once again, it's several hours later. It's late in the day. It's finally quit raining. Now we've got near triple digits and a ton of humidity, but let's see if we can get something done to this car. First thing I'm doing on this side, I'm going to go ahead and just take the whole front bumper off, which was super easy on this side. If you saw the previous video, you know this has been wrecked before. You can see the damage to that arm there. All this stuff up front was replaced with what used to be a red car or maroon car. But I'm just going to take all this off, I'm gonna just hold up the bumper here on occasion, measure it, take it off, make my brackets, and just go through it that way. And then when that's all done, I'll come back through here and try to fix all this stuff, maybe get the bumper to reattach properly. So I've got the bumper marked where the light is going to be. The biggest obstacle is going to be figuring out how low to hang this light. I figure I'm going to bring an L bracket down, bring it out. I'm just going to hang this light from it right here. The problem is going to be with the bumper on, it's going to be hard to measure. Without the bumper on, it's even harder to measure. So I'm going to have to figure out the depth and figure out the height and everything and where this thing is going to be kind of floating here in midair. Here's what I've come up with so far. Just a very simple bracket. I'll attach this up here. I've got to figure out the height. This may be too far forward, I don't know. What sucks is I'm by myself and I'm going to have to figure out, put the bumper back on, then figure out how to mount this somewhere. I was going to stick some metal self-tapping screws in and just hold it and then adjust it that way, but I can't find any metal self-tappers. Think about that for a minute. I personally do not have metal self-tappers. That is so weird. The world is upside down and topsy-turvy right now. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with myself. This is crazy. I have been trying to punch this thing forever. I finally found my metal self-tappers. They wouldn't do anything. I can't get a steel bit to bite on this. I've tried punching. I've tried steel punches, trying to punch a lip. This thing is just insanely durable. I can't get a steel bit. The steel bit would punch right through it, except I can't get it to start a hole. I can't get anything to start. It's just spinning on the surface, driving me crazy. Well, I ended up cutting the little tabs out of the fog light hole here so I could see where the fog light mounts, but after a lot of trial and error, I just can't get my hand up in here. I can't get the light in here because the bumper comes way underneath here and covers up the whole thing. So we're moving over to these spots over here. Gonna scooch them in one little slot to the side. It's not where I wanted them, but it's where I can reach and what I can do. I can hold this right here. I can measure it, I can mark it, and I can weld this bracket, and I can be done with this a hell of a lot sooner than trying to mount them over here. After a lot of experimentation and nonsense, it looks like this is where this is going to go. At least I hope that's where it's going to go, because that's where I'm going to weld it. It has been a very long time, but I finally got the first bracket on. This took forever. It took forever to get the welder to even penetrate that bracket. I sanded it all down and did everything I could, and I just could not get it to penetrate. It kept just burning up the bracket and refusing to go in. But anyway, finally got the first one on. Well, got the bumper just sitting on here. Here are those lights. They're discreet and very tucked away. I'll have to play with them just a little bit more once I get the bumper fully mounted again. It's just sitting here right now, but that's roughly what we're going to be dealing with right there. I think this is where this needs to go. Once again, it's really hard to do one person, but and the car is not exactly symmetrical and even side to side. The brackets are a little bit different, so they don't mount exactly the same, but I think this is where this needs to go. Here's the number 2 bracket. I finally figured out what's going on with my welder. My welding wire is extremely rusty. It got wet at some point and it's just burning off everywhere. Once I got some clean wire, I was able to get a couple things to stick. But I was welding and I would put a bead on, it would just pop right off. And it was blowing off and it was just going crazy. It was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen. And I realized my entire spool was just rusted almost all the way through. All right, as far as I can tell, this is about where the bumper is going to sit. This one needs shimmed down just ever so slightly. Probably just a couple of washers and it'll be okay. It's really close, but that one's out of position now also. I think I've just moved the bumper around a little bit more than I meant to, but none of this can really be permanently mounted until I get this bumper affixed and get all that figured out. So what I've done is use some oversized nuts to use as spacers. I got 4 of the same, dropped them both the same distance. That is as much drop as I'm going to be able to get using these bolts. That has taken up all the thread. I have a couple more turns left when I crush the crush washers, but that's as low as they're going to hang, so I've got to hope that's enough. So that is just about perfect on this side. It could probably come down another 1/4 inch, but there's nothing I can do about that. On that side, it's too much. I need to remove one washer on that side. Like I said, the car's not exactly symmetrical, and neither is my work. This was definitely a 2 or 3 person job. That's pretty close and it's pretty good. I'm gonna have to get the wiring done and then get the bumper reinstalled full time before I can make any more adjustments. As with all these kits, the worst part about them is they don't give you enough wire to run to the battery. So I've just got the relay mounted here, ran the wire under the radiator support, ran it straight to the battery. Now I'm gonna get on with actually wiring the lights themselves. Everything hooked up, got all the wires run. As far as I remember, what I think is I cut the red wire, because that's power source in, cap it off, run the white wire to red here, run the black to black, and that should give me switch control of the headlights inside the car. I wanted to get a piggyback connector to plug this in and just hook these up to the piggyback for a direct plug-in, but I wasn't going to be able to get one for several days, so I'm just going to snip these and butt splice them together. Let's see if that worked the way I had envisioned in my mind. Yes, they're on. Now let's make sure they turn off when I hit the brights. Perfect. All right. I think I have these exactly where I want them. Of course, I won't actually know until it's dark, but looking pretty good. Really discreet. You can't see them if you're more than 2 feet up off the ground. I like that. Everything is back together. Put a couple more bolts in it to hold it together. For Junior, it's not perfect, and I will go out tonight and drive it after it gets dark. No, I did not drive my wife's last night. I forgot, but she just got home. It's late afternoon, early evening. I'll go drive them both here in a little while. It's finally dark, so let's go test drive these things again. We'll start with the Expedition. A downside to this is it's a little bit difficult to see when it's turned off, but not hard to reach or anything. You'll have to excuse the beeping sound. That is something in the parking brake system. It registers the parking brake as being on at all times when it's driving. It is not. Can't get it to go away. All right, here's the bright headlights on, and let's see. Going around. That is better. Still not as far out as I was hoping it would be, but it's better than it was the other day. It's not just directly 5 feet in front of the truck. Here we go. Going down the road. Can't see anything more than about 20-30 feet ahead of me. Much better. Night and day difference. Right headlights, light bar. Definitely have to dim it when meeting traffic. Can't see anything going in this corner. Now I can see really well. Here we are at our local gas station. There you can see the bright lights versus the light bar. Definitely more of a floodlight than a spotlight. I'm happy enough with this. Time to take it home and go get the convertible. That parking brake thing finally turned itself off. We're almost home. It's about time. Wow, big long straightaway with no traffic coming. I can't believe it. I can't see. I can see. And I am aware that on camera, the lighting looks a little bit better. That is the night shot on this phone versus the actual lighting, because I quite literally can't see, I barely see the stripe on the road. I can't tell if there's deer, pedestrians, motorcyclists, or anything else on the road with just the headlights on. It's pretty bad. Now I can see everything. All right, it's convertible time. Bright headlights, dim headlights. Here are the regular bright headlights. Here are the dims with fog lights. They are projecting more light outward. They're not going out as far as I like. They're aimed down a little bit too much. Dang it. Let's go see how they look on the open road. Yeah, I definitely want them to aim a little further out. The fog lights are probably only 20, 25 feet up ahead of the car. I don't like that. I'm not sure how these fog lights are projecting so much light up and off to the sides, as shrouded as they are by that bumper. I really expected there'd be no light up here off to the sides. Look how much light they project off to the side and up well over the bumper. That's weird. On the open road, here are the bright headlights. Just like the Ford Expedition, I can't really see anything. That is much better. They do need to project out further though. I think I need to mount them lower and aim them out in front of us further somehow. Dang it. It's better, but it's not what I was hoping for. It's not as good as the Expedition. I'm gonna have to adjust these at 60 miles per hour. They're not really out in front of the car any at all. They're aimed way too close. Here we are in the same parking lot. Here are the fog lights on the convertible. I crawled under the car and adjusted them by hand a little bit, the little bit that I could. I think I have them a little bit further out now versus aiming straight down. They seem to be all right. It's really hard to tell in a lit parking lot. What I need is a nice dark flat spot to be able to do this. I'm not sure where to find that. I'm in the back of a local grocery store parking lot. It's a little less bright back here. I'm gonna see if I can aim those lights towards that, whatever that white thing is with the lattice around it. See if I can adjust them a little better. The bumper was shrouding these things some. I've got them aimed up a whole lot more, but these just may not be what I was hoping they'd be. They're not as good a floodlight as the white fog lights on white trash, and they're not as good as spotlights as the ones on Piece of Stang. You can see that's a little bit better lit up, but not a whole lot better. I adjusted the crap out of these and I changed where they're aiming. I did everything I could, and they just don't project light down the road like I was hoping. I'll give it a little bit of time, but if I don't like these, I'm gonna go ahead and get two of the round ones like white trash has. I'm gonna mount them behind this honeycomb and see if that's not better. So I am not happy with these at all. Here we are back in the car. You can see the little bit of difference, but not much. But those lights are aimed directly at that piece of lattice now. It's just not doing what I wanted it to do. Here are the bright headlights. There are the fog lights. They are projecting a little bit further, but there's a black spot probably 40, 50 feet out in front of the car where there's just no light. And I've got them aimed right at it. They're not projecting down the road very much. Cruising on the open highway, I'm not even going to dim these things at oncoming traffic. I don't think it's going to make any difference. These are literally fog lights. They're not projecting anything down the road at all. Ever so slightly out to the side a little bit more, and that's it. I think the headlights project just as far as these fog lights do. I'm not liking these. It's been a little while now. I've been driving around with them for a little while, and they just are not doing the job I want them to do. Yeah, I'm not liking this. They just are not doing what I need them to do. I'm not sure what's up with them. Here we are back on the back roads, and yeah, not what I wanted these things. They're nowhere near as effective as the other 3 kits I've installed so far. That's disappointing. I'm not sure it's going to matter where I mount these or what I do with them. I just don't think they're as good a light as the other ones were. I think I'm going to order a set of the little ones like Piece of Stang has, and go ahead and put on the outside 2 fog light holes, maybe wire them into the bright headlights, and just leave these as actual true fog lights. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to figure it out here in a few days. I went home and I adjusted these a lot more, tried to aim them down the road a little bit more. It seems like they are a little bit better. I unshrouded them from the bumper just a little. I'm gonna take them back out on the highway and see how they look. Give them one more chance. Ever so slightly better, but not great. I am still not in love with these things at all. Let's see what happens when I get up to 60. Hopefully we get a little open road here in a moment without a bunch of traffic. Here we go. Damn it. That is ever so slightly better. I've got them aimed a little further down the road, but I still don't even think I need to flash my lights at anybody or dim them or anything. It is definitely better. I've got them a little further down the road a little where I can actually see more than 10 feet in front of me, but they're just not as bright. These are much more of a floodlight side to side than they are a spotlight. They're not as good a floodlight as the white ones on white trash, the round ones on white trash, and they're not as good a spotlight as the little ones on Piece of Stang. I don't even think I need to dim these things or turn them off when I meet traffic. Pulled up to the side of this building. You can see where the light is going. I've got it going down the road now. It's pretty flat. It's not aimed down at the ground or anything. Both those lights are aimed basically at the same place. They're just not doing their job. Crawled back under the car, made some more adjustments. I found that both the fog lights had some plain old-fashioned bumper interference going on. I bent the brackets a little. You can see where the 2 lights are. Right there beside each other. That is as good as that is gonna get. They are about as straight as humanly possible, going down the road as far as possible with the bumper shrouding them. I'm gonna give them another chance, take them back out on the road, see what they look like. Here they are corrected, as well as I can get them. Ever so slightly better, just not up to my standard. I can't look down the road and see what's truly coming more than 50 feet ahead of me, maybe at best. I'm not even dimming these things anymore. Yeah, this is just, these are basically just actual fog lights. These are not replacing the headlights like I had hoped they would. This is very disappointing. Also, that front bumper is not completely stable. It's missing some internal braces. So as we're going down the road, it's kind of flopping around, and I realized it has just bumped the driver's side light. It's just aiming off into the woods now. So that's a problem. But even over there, that light's still not doing what I want it to do. All right, that's it. I'm calling it a night. I came back home and adjusted them a little bit more, but they're not great. Tighten them back down. The bumper's interfering quite a bit. Big problem is the bumper is loose and it is flapping in the wind as we go down the road and is knocking into those lights. But no matter how I adjust them, they're just not what I want. I'm going to have to figure out what to do about it next week, though, when the boy comes back. Talk to him about it. So a couple things have happened. I worked the last few nights, got off work this morning, woke up early to come work on the cars, and I found this when I woke up. So that's not going to be happening. The other thing that happened is I genuinely thought Junior got home tomorrow. He actually gets home here in a couple of hours. So bad news is the car is not going to be done for him when he gets home. The good news is I guess he can help me with it tomorrow or whenever it quits raining. Look who's finally here. Welcome back to America, the boy.
Hello.
Lights, boy.
Oh, nice.
LED fog lights. They're not all that great. I'm not overly impressed with them. They don't really go down the road much. They just kind of glow right there in front of the car. But flip your brights on. So those are your regular brights, and I've got the LED fog lights wired into your dims. Anyway, we can play with the car some more tomorrow or something. It's the next day. Junior's pretty jet lagged, so I'm letting him have the day if he wants it. I'm gonna get started back on the car. I think today I'm gonna try to adjust these headlights better. I think I'm gonna yank the bumper off. I'm gonna push these back, mount these further back so they quit hitting the bumper. You can see the bumper moving them there. I'm gonna push them back. And I think I'm gonna leave these things in as fog lights, leave them wired to the dim lights, and just leave it alone, use them as is. But then I've also ordered these. These are a known good quality light. They're working great on the black car, and these will work as headlights in place of the fog lights. So I've got to try to figure out where I'm going to mount these things and how I'm going to mount them. These are the lights that in my other LED light video were listed as $23. They are now $30. Man, inflation is going insane. It's only been a month or 6 weeks or something. Somehow I hadn't noticed before how bad the difference is in this bumper and how far back it had been pushed exactly. It is still the factory compression part on the car. They didn't replace that. So the bumper on this side is probably 2 inches further back than it is on this side. I really started noticing that when I tried to put in this new set of fog lights. And that's going to be one reason these things are hitting the bumper and being interfered with so badly is just the difference. It's probably 2 inches front to back from side to side. Not a big change, but I went ahead and backed both these lights up roughly about an inch so they'd quit interfering, hitting the plastic on the bumper. I'm going to see if that makes any difference. It's not really going to help them throw any light down the road any further, but at least the bumper will quit hitting them and flopping them around. You can see how much further forward this light appears to sit in the bracket compared to the bumper. That's because the bumper's pushed back, but that really lines them up with the bumper cover. Much better. Now on to figuring out the new lights. One problem with the new lights is I could hang this right here on an L bracket, right where that mark is, and it would be absolutely perfect hanging the opening of the bumper. No problems whatsoever. The problem is that on this side, there's so much difference here. No L bracket will go here. This needs to be mounted up in the middle of the bumper to hang in the same exact spot. That's how far off the bumper is. What I'm thinking is I'm actually going to mount these lights to the bumper, and then I'm going to reinforce the bottom of the bumper onto the bottom of the car again so it doesn't rock and shake and blow in the wind. And I'm going to reinforce these, and I'm just going to mount these up from the bottom rather than try to hang them from the top. I'm quickly running out of bracket making material, but here's what I've come up with. I've got one of these on each side. I've trimmed away some of this. I just test fitted. I'm gonna have to trim away this a little bit more to make the light a little more adjustable. Here you can see the other light is being hung. Yeah, I got to trim away a little bit of plastic so I can adjust it side to side a little bit more, but I think this is gonna work okay. It isn't pretty, but it's stable enough. There we go. Both sides are installed. Both sides have plenty of room for adjustability. Let's see what they look like on the other side. There we go. Sadly, I couldn't find any flathead bolts or anything better to put over here, so That bolt kind of hangs in the way. They're both kind of gangly and ugly looking. I'll see if I can find something else, but there's the general idea. I'm happy enough with that. I couldn't do it. I couldn't live with it. I couldn't stand those bolts sticking up, so I went and got some round heads, some flush fitters, and put them on there. Much cleaner now. Great. I just snapped off this piece that holds the headlight in. You can see where it's broken. I just kind of wedged it back into place, but it's not going to stay there. I'm going to have to do something, some kind of plastic weld or something. Just more time and more money. There we go with the bumper put back on. Of course, we'll have to wait till night to dial it in. Now I need to get on to the crappy part. I've got to try to figure out how to wire this thing. Since they are separate lights being run at separate times and separate switches, I did go ahead and run the second relay. I just bolted them back to back on the same stud, wired them both up, and now I got to figure out how to wire this switch into the factory bright switch in the steering column. If I'm thinking about this correctly, all I need is this white wire and nothing else, since I'm not using the switch, just this white wire to go in and hook into the headlight bright switch. And that should power everything when it gets power. I can just leave these other two capped with this thing and tape it off and not worry about it and just extend this all the way in the cab, I think. Let's see. Oh, I hear the relay. Yep, they're on. Awesome. The worst part of this is going to be getting the steering column apart and exposing the headlight switch, and this is going to suck. I cannot access this thing and get it apart to save my life. I can't get this piece off because the key is through it. So I'm gonna have to find some other way around to wire this. So rather than messing with the high beam switch, I found the high beam fuse under the dash, number 38. I looked it up online. I've run a wire from there. Found an unused grommet up here, punched a hole in it, just ran it, hooked it up to the fog light relay, and now I just need some help seeing if it'll trigger. Turn on the headlights. Is that the brights or the dims?
Dims.
You sure? Click on the brights.
Besides the brights.
Well, click them. On and off. There we go. All right. Dang it, now we got a headlight out, I think. Maybe. Maybe not. Keep doing it. Cycle them. All right. Fog lights. Hit bright lights, fog lights, bright lights. All right. Good job. There it is, all put back together inside and out. We just need to wait till dark so we can adjust these headlights. We have an event we're going to tonight as a family. When we get back well after dark, we'll take this thing for a ride and see how it does. Well, it is dark. It is midnight. We got home later than we expected. Let's go drive this thing. Let's check out the lights now. There's the dims. There's the brights. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. This is not going as well as I'd hoped. The new lights, we just don't have them aimed properly. I can't really tell where they're aiming. We need to do some adjustment on them. All right, we came over here to this business, nice flat parking lot, nice flat wall. And now you can see where those are the two new lights. Those are the headlights below them. Those two lights a moment ago were aiming just at the top of this parking block. They were just right in front of the car, so we couldn't really see anything. I think we have them aimed now going down the road where we can see what we're doing a little bit. As we were leaving, we realized that one of the lights looked good, the other one is way up high. So I'm going to adjust them a little bit more again. Hopefully that makes all the difference. Good flat parking lot and a good flat wall can really show you where your lights are going. That is a lot better than it was. They're at least going down the road now and not at the parking block, but they're also not at the roof of the building, so that's good. Here we are, roughly 100 feet away. The boys gassing up. Yeah, they're right in my eyes, so that's at least going down the road. We're gonna gas up, hit the road, and make sure these things are gonna do their job. That is better. We can see down the highway now. We can actually see light signs coming and things like that. Yeah, there's a little zoom in. That is better than it was. We can actually see down the street finally. So that's it for this video. We're done. It's several days later. Both Junior and my wife have driven both the convertible and the Expedition several times at night. They both like all the new lighting. Junior really likes his. The only thing that's changing is my wife has asked that I wire her light bar into her high beam headlight switch, so it's a little more natural, a little more convenient. She doesn't really like the position of the switch. Junior agrees. So I'm going to do that. No need to record it, but we're going to head out. I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much.